Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today. I'm, of course, Gregor Guy, joined here by Mr. Casey, Mr. Cuz, and we will be presenting to you today our next installment of Banghead STEM. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to you, Mr. Cuz. What are we going to talk about here today?
Fish driving a vehicle.
Go on.
Alright, so researchers have been studying how to get fish to move around in a tank, in a vehicle. So basically they're driving a fish-propelled little mini car.
A fish-propelled car?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think
is the fish like running on a treadmill or swimming on a treadmill? I mean, what do you mean propelled? It can't be propelled by the fish.
It is propelled by the fish. So this is how they do it.
Something has to be driving the wheels.
Fishes. Sensors in the there's a sensor.
Well, I mean, the fish may be the input,
guiding,
but they are
the
not.
Fish is guiding
yes,
the fish is guiding.
Right,
but it's not driving.
But it's not propelling the actual vehicle.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes,
it can't.
You have to produce energy to propel the vehicle.
So, no, you want me
yes, go ahead.
All right. So they study this fish. They use the same fish in 30-minute increments. Right? They start the fish basically in the center of the fish tank on top of the vehicle. There's sensors. So think of it, from what I gathered, it's kind of like a grid, right? Like a three-dimensional grid. So the fish starts here, and they drop pellets in, and they see how fast the fish can pick up the pellets in 30-minute increments. Sessions, rather.
So do these sensors, do they use like heat sensors or motion sensors?
They go by what the fish is. So they got like a little web camera there, and then they have the sensors all set up around the tank. So they always start the fish in the center. And they drop the pellets in the same spot over and over until the fish picks it up. So what they found is that the fish actually has memory, cognitive abilities to an extent, because after about 10 or 15 sessions, the fish knew where the pellets were going to be. So they could get the fish to drive the car in the same direction over and over again before the pellets actually dropped. Which means that they actually have a working memory of their surroundings.
Fish with brains. There you go. You heard it here first.
Fish with brains.
Just right off the bat, when I thought about this, when I heard about this, I was like, what has the world come to? That we're trying to teach fish how to drive a vehicle.
And spending money on it.
Yeah, yes, and how much money would you have to spend? This is university because I looked it up. This is a university doing this study on fish driving a vehicle. There's like nothing else that we could be spending our money and resources on rather than fish memory driving vehicles.
Yes, it's because it's not profitable to cure cancer.
Well, think about it like this: if you study other animals, you can implement that into AI. Because maybe other animals that we're not looking at. So, like, one of the things the researchers actually talked about was when you look at fish at face value, most people think, oh, there's a stupid animal. But it evolved a certain way, and its intellect is different than the way ours is, right? So, studying it is actually beneficial. I mean, not all species is going to be beneficial, but I think that track of just studying, like even if you went into their environment, like going to a pond, and if it was clear enough, you could like...
I think the building up blocks of this study is going to go to oblivion.
Why?
Because I don't think it really has any scientific value whatsoever.
Okay, I do have another question. I kind of agree with what you're saying, but I do have another question.
Okay.
The vehicle that the fish is driving, is it like an RC car?
It kind of is.
I mean, do you have any, like, kind of, did you see a picture of it or anything?
I showed you it earlier.
I barely even looked at it. But
I do think...
I mean, I just saw the tank on top, but okay, my question is this, right? Okay, if they, a fish bowl, with 3D anything, why don't they, why don't they change it to like a drone? That way, if it goes up, the thing starts hovering. Why don't they teach you how to fly then?
Because it's in a
it's
in a fishbowl, and if it goes down too far, it's going to crash.
So
all the water
all the water and the fish are dead.
Here,
you lose your experiment.
I don't know where it goes when I clicked on this, but the image pops up for a second. Well, it did pop up for a second. I have to find another image of it.
I do find the idea.
I'll show you later.
Okay.
I do find the idea in the story entertaining, to be honest with you. But when it comes to scientific terms,
right? I mean, it just seems like a giant waste of time and money and resources. And
just off the first glance, it seems like
I agree. But
they're hoping that other people pick up this research and
teach their fish how to drive.
Well, not just fish, but any other animal, and then kind of come up with different theories and ways to go about it that they haven't even imagined yet. Because I'd imagine that it's like a small team of researchers doing this.
Well, but theories of what?
How other animals' brains work.
I mean, I can tell you right away that a hamster has memory. So what does that do for me?
It might have memory, but how's its cognitive abilities work? Like, surface level, yeah, obviously it knows its surroundings, but what other way, how does their brain work? I think this type of research is beneficial in that way. Because their next step for this is to have the fish go to a place, like, so they started with, like, going forward and backward, and now they have the fish kind of just driving in a three-dimensional area. And they want to try next having the fish go to a place that it doesn't see. Right? So they want to see how good the memory of the fish is.
I think the fish just wants the stupid freaking pellet.
Food.
I mean, you can look at it like that, kind of like a dog. You know, dogs will do tricks and everything else because they know that they're getting that reward afterwards. So.
Well, I would imagine that a dog is a lot smarter than a fish. I think the fish only wants safety. It's got survival instincts. It gets away from predators, and I think it wants its food. I think other than that, the fish really, other than maybe wanting to be comfortable and going towards a heat source, I don't think there's anything else to the brain of a fish, for the most part.
I used to have an Oscar, and he was pretty smart. Like, he used to do little tricks, like if you spun your finger like this, he would do upside down flips, and I wouldn't give him food and stuff like that. So I think there's more to animals than just petty, primitive things.
And even if the fish was slightly smarter, I don't really think it has any benefit to society to know these things anyways.
Well, if you understand, so we're making AI based off of how we think.
Right.
If you study other animals, you can implement that into AI.
Could you imagine how messed up the world would be if the AI was based on the fish
like a tiger? It can't be no better than humans, right?
Wow.
I think it would be a lot more basic than if it was based.
Actually, the opposite. It would be more basic to put AI as like a dumb creature of some sort.
Your future will be determined by the brain of a goldfish.
If that's what the world's come to, man, I'm checking out. Continuing on.
So, I gotta find something. Alright, so talking about the device itself. So the web camera on the vehicle detects the fish's position and orientation, like I kind of said before, which then sends a command to the vehicle's motors, and then the wheels go in a certain direction.
So there are motors propelling this vehicle.
Yes.
It's not the fish.
It is the fish. It doesn't go without the fish.
The fish is controlling it, but the motor's actually
Do you control your car?
No, the
I
motor
pilot my car.
propels.
Yeah, but
I control it, but the motor propels it.
Propels it. Yeah.
Anyway,
So
I'm glad we clarified that.
Right.
but it's still similar. It's still exactly how we drive. He just doesn't have a steering wheel because he's a fucking fish. That would be
now
cool.
that would be impressive.
That would be
If they could
cool.
teach a fish to use a steering wheel. It would still have zero scientific
Value.
value, right? But it would still be more impressive.
Wait, hold on. Could you imagine that if they gave, sealed up an entire car, doors and everything, opened the sunroof, filled it up with water, dumped the fish in there, and just let them fucking, go back and forth on the steering wheel with his
like
mouth?
one hand.
I mean, they obviously don't have hands or anything. But
Finn, sorry.
Grandma got ran over by a goldfish.
Anyway. Alright, continuing on. Moving on.
So you guys see no value whatsoever.
None at all.
No.
I am the opposite.
Okay, well, explain your point. What?
I already told you.
AI?
I think studying animals' cognitive abilities will help us understand different ways to implement programs and algorithms into AI. Not necessarily fish themselves, but just other animals on this planet.
That's just a big ask for me to swallow.
I am on Team Horseshit. I believe Guy's on Team Horseshit as well, and you're on Team Goldfish.
I'm on Team Scientist. I understand why
Team Science!
Science, bro.
Anyway. Anything else?
No, that's it.
That's it. Alright, well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Our next installment of Bang Head STEM. Talking about goldfish. Driving cars. And the fucked up world we live in.
The places we're going, my friend. The places we're going.
Yeah, scary.
Well, the goldfish is going.
Fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, I am, of course, Greg Guy, joined here by Mr. Casey. Mr. Cuz, thanks for putting that together, man.
Yeah, man.
If you're out there watching, have a lovely day.